Hello everyone, how are your nerves? We're here at the final weekend of the DTM 2021 season. We're about to get the track action underway for the first of two free practice sessions today before we look forward to the final two qualifying sessions and final two races of what's been an incredibly tight, incredibly entertaining and very tense at times championship. It's the title decider and we come to the streets of Nuremberg and the Norisring, this unpredictable circuit. What will it have in store for us this weekend? Well, we'll find out over the next 3 days which of the four drivers who remain in mathematical contention will be crowned 2021 DTM champion. I'm Chris Hartley, here to talk you through all of the action this weekend. And there is one of the key competitors, Kelvin van der Linde, the highs and lows of motorsport at Hockenheim last weekend. Saturday, a great day, pole position, a race win, maximum points. It all started well on Sunday with another pole position. Became the first driver this season to get back-to-back pole positions on a weekend in DTM. But then the race turned into a bit of a horror show for Kelvin.
30 seconds to go. Remember, we'll be out, one complete lap and then box for pit stop.
So there you go, Kelvin's going to go out and come straight back in, so just a recce lap as a few of the drivers no doubt will do. So he second in the championship, picked up a 5-second penalty after contact with Liam Lawson early on, his big championship rival in that second race at Hockenheim. There is Liam, and then didn't serve the penalty during the pit stop, which he did have the opportunity to do, and therefore was doubled his time to a 10-second penalty, and he only got one championship point, and that was only courtesy of the fact that his teammate Mike Rockenfeller had slowed right down in the last lap and a half to make sure he was more than 10 seconds adrift. And well, who knows what that point might do. There are 14 between them then. Liam Lawson on 206 points, 192 for Kelvin van der Linde, 14 points the difference, 56 points still available this weekend. Maximilian Gutz, 26 points, only out of the points in one race so far this season. He's been a race winner. He's been on the podium multiple times. Can he have something to say about this? He's one of the drivers that, albeit in a very different car, has at least raced DTM at Norisring previously. And then Marco Wittmann is the absolute outsider, but he mathematically still has a chance. He's 41 points adrift. There are 56 points available, and as long as there is a mathematical chance, there is a chance. So Marco Wittmann would need really to score almost maximum points. Even if he did that, Lawson would only have to score 16 points or more, and van der Linde 29 points or more to rule him out of contention. So Marco Wittmann is absolutely the rank outsider. Maximilian Gutz, though, will still fancy his chances. 26 points adrift, a very important podium. What was his 50th race in DTM at Hockenheim last Sunday. Got that win at Lausitzring. He's had 3 second-place finishes and 2 third-place finishes so far this season. And there's Marco Wittmann for Volkenhorst, who had a miserable weekend at Hockenheim. The car just wasn't on the pace. Got a little bit better as the weekend went on, but he didn't score a single point at that penultimate round of the championship, just at the wrong time. But this he'll class as his home race. He's from this part of the world, and he will take the experience that he's had at the Norisring before and try and bring that into the fight and just try and end the season on what otherwise, apart from Hockenheim, has been a very, very good year for Volkenhorst in their first year of DTM. So we'll see what Marco Wittmann can do as a winner here at the Norisring back in 2018. Finished on the podium that year as well, and has had multiple top 6 finishes around this famous street circuit. So we're here at the Norisring, a very different experience for the final round of the championship. We normally here in what are often very hot temperatures in July, around about 30 degrees when I've been here multiple times in the past. But here in October, it's actually pretty warm for the time of year, and not jacket weather, as you can see. And the circuit itself, well, 2.3 kilometres long, 8 turns, which is pushing it, but there are 8 turns, although you could argue there are only 3 corners on the circuit. But you can overtake here. It's an unusual street circuit in that respect. The big opportunity comes at the hairpins, particularly the first hairpin, the first corner, the Grundig-Kehrer. The main grandstand here, the Stein Tribune, 360 metres long as the 45-minute session gets underway here. It's one of the oldest street circuits in Europe. First used for motorsport back in 1947. There's been lots of different configurations of the track over the years. figure of 8 layouts even in the past, but the current version of the circuit is the one that's been used since way back in 1971. Liam Lawson then, you can see, heading out. Can he become the youngest ever DTM champion this weekend? Come what may, all of the 4 drivers still in mathematical contention have had great seasons. Liam Lawson, Kelvin van der Linde, Maximilian Gotz and Marco Wittmann. You could argue a case for all of them being deserving champions, but it has to be one, and it could go down to the wire, this. So these free practice sessions, all important. The streets of Nürburgring only opened up for this race weekend, so it's not somewhere you can come and test. And everybody, we're not going to be worried too much this weekend about track limits, because you can see the track limits. They are walls and armco barriers. You push too much on the accelerator out of the corner, you're in the wall. You scrape the wall. There's very little runoff area. That paving to the right as well, that can get a little bit slippy. It's bumpy out there as well. It's a hugely different experience, this, for Liam Lawson. Kelvin van der Linde, in terms of driving these cars around here, the last time he was here was 2013 in terms of racing a car. It was when he was at the VW Sirocco Art Cup, which he went on to win the championship, Kelvin van der Linde, and he raced here at the Norisring that year, supporting the DTM, which his teammate for this year, Mike Rockenfeller, won the championship that season. So that was the last time Kelvin van der Linde was here in action. But for Liam Lawson, who's done an incredible job this season, it's not just about the fact that he's only 19 years old, it's about the fact he's never driven or raced these kinds of cars before. It's all been single-seaters up until this point, and it is a very different experience. And there, right behind him, another very impressive 19-year-old, Esteban Moot. Grabbed a quick word with him after race 2 at Hockenheim last weekend, in what was his first retirement of the season. The driver that's made it to the end of all the races, or at least been classified in all the races, Esteban. And it was an engine problem that put him out of the race. He said we could have finished the race, but it was going slowly. There was no point just trundling around at the back, not scoring any points, so we retired the car. He said, but I tell you what, and his eyes lit up, I am looking forward to next weekend at the Norisring. It's going to be great. And he had a real twinkle in his eye. He's a brave driver, Esteban Moot. I think he might just love this place. We'll find out. So, new teammate for the weekend at AF Corsa for Liam Lawson, because Alex Albon, the news coming through yesterday, I think it was, that he is not going to be joined this weekend by Alex Albon, but instead by Nick Cassidy. We waited all season for Nick to make his DTM debut, but because of Alex's Formula 1 commitments this weekend as a reserve and development driver for the Red Bull Formula 1 team, he's sitting this one out. Nick Cassidy comes in his place. So 2 New Zealanders on the grid, 2 New Zealanders in the team, and Nick will be able to score championship points. He's not a guest driver, he's a replacement driver, so he will be able, I'm sure, to have some influence on what's going on with his teammate. That's going to be his key job here this weekend. Absolutely no doubt about that. So Mike Rockenfeller starting to apply with his first quick lap here at the Norisring, and there is Nick Cassidy coming in to make, well, he's run through the pits. Right at the end of the pitch, you'll see that Ferrari are, which could be interesting. It's a very, very narrow pit lane here. It could be a useful place to be come the pit stops when we get to the races tomorrow and on Sunday, which are going to be absolutely critical. That's certainly something that the drivers and the teams are going to be practicing this weekend during these free practice sessions. Getting those tyres on and off as quickly as possible makes a huge difference here. They're all going to be very bunched up. It's a short lap, a very short lap, so the lap times are going to be very close. And if you lose 2 or 3 seconds in a pit stop, here it's going to be even more punishing than it is anywhere else in DTM. So make no doubt about it, it's not just about the drivers this weekend, it's about the performance and the ability to keep cool under pressure from the teams, who have a huge, huge role to play here during the course of the next 3 days, getting that set up right, analysing the data, going through everything. Nico Muller goes top in the early stages, 51.039 seconds. That's straight down to business for somebody else that's won here in the past. It's half a second quicker than Philip Ellis at the moment with a 51.6. Timo Glock with a 51.831, third quickest, and on a better lap here goes second, 51.57. Nico Muller goes even quicker though, 50.69. Absolute best in all three sectors. And I wondered if this might come into play. Those with a little bit of experience of the Norisring, albeit different machinery, will they have the big upper hand here at this circuit? Certainly they ought to at the start of the weekend. Max Gotts goes second, so Maximilian Gotts with 50.939. Quarter of a second adrift on board with him now. And look how close he gets. He clipped the barrier there. Sounded like it. Certainly maybe a curb that he managed to flick over there. Get up to 270 kilometres an hour, these cars. Liam Lawson just in front, with his steps out of the way. On the throttle he goes. Second quickest now, that 50.939 second lap. Nico Muller started the next lap very well as well, an absolute best first sector, but in the end it was 3/10 down on his previous best. Kelvin van der Linde third, 51.089, 4/10 of a second adrift. Marco Wittmann still in with a chance. It's a very, very slender chance, but it's a chance. 51.48, goes into the top six with his first flying lap. Maximilian Buch is back this weekend in the number 18 Muka Motorsport Mercedes. There he is, replaced very, very ably last weekend by the former Formula 4 champion of Germany, Marvin Dienst, who did a great job, got into the points in the second race, but very competitive. Very impressed with how he'd gone. He spent the last few years driving in endurance racing, things like Le Mans Series. Sheldon van der Linde goes third with a 51.069. That doesn't stay third for long. Times keep jumping and changing. That time's being disallowed, maybe. But Esteban Muck goes fifth, so it's Muller, Gotts, and then the van der Linde's third and fourth. Mike Rockenfeller goes fifth now. Esteban Muck put down to sixth. And Marco Wittmann crosses the line, goes a bit quicker still. The BMW looking good, 51.142. You're on board with him now. Wrestling it round, full lock around the hairpin. Nico Muller even quicker through the first sector, 18.604. He's still got the best three sector times, but has backed off out of the lap look. But he started it absolutely on the money. As Lucas Auer, who's been a winner in each of the last two weekends, has gone second quickest, 50.612. Another driver with experience of the Norisring. So Muller, 50.457, that's the target time to beat, but only 60 thousandths of a second. Maximilian Gotts, who improved last time round with a 50.517. And then Lucas Auer, 50.612 into the top three. He was briefly second, he's now third because Maximilian Gotts got ahead of him. Kelvin van der Linde in fourth place. Fifth place, Sheldon van der Linde. Sixth, Maximilian Buch, doing a fine job here. And Marco Wittmann, who you're right on board with now, currently in seventh place. There's Vincent Abril, who might have a role to play for HRT as his teammate to Maximilian Gotts. And there you can see the bumps as the Lamborghini of Esteban Muck, the back end dances and hops and skips over the tarmac as Kelvin van der Linde sets the absolute best middle sector here. Almost feels like a qualifying session this. They're really gunning for it early doors to try and lay down their marker, and Kelvin goes third quickest with that lap. So the championship contenders, Gotts is second, van der Linde is third, Wittmann is in eighth, and we haven't really seen anything yet from Liam Lawson, down in 18th place currently. So very lively first 10 minutes of the session. Lucas de Grassi, who has been here before in Formula 3 and in the Audi TT Cup. Lucas back this weekend as the fourth of the Sports Line Audis, and he's in 11th place currently. Pretty good first lap, 51.281, but already the top 13 are covered by just 9/10 of a second, and you get the sense those gaps are going to get tighter and tighter as the weekend goes on. Kelvin van der Linde to the top of the times. No, not quite. Maximilian Gotts pips him. And look at that. Two of the contenders in the championship, top of the timing screen. Maximilian Gotts with a 50.336, just snatching it away from Kelvin van der Linde, who briefly had the top time there with a 50.439. And then you've got Nico Muller, 50.457. He's not worried about championship points this weekend or about trying to help a teammate out. Just wants to end the season on a high after a real barren run of form in terms of results scored of late. So Maximilian Götz, well, he's the one playing catch-up this weekend, so his job is simple, really. He's just got to try and maximise points. Try and get pole, which would be his first in DTM. Try and get his second win in DTM, and maybe a third, and then see what the others do. But he knows he's really got to walk away from this weekend with at least one race win to have a chance, realistically. Doesn't have to be the case, but realistically, he'll be looking to score a win this weekend. But it's so unpredictable here. You get slightly wrong, or somebody gets it wrong in front of you, and you get caught up in somebody else's accident, and it can all be over in the blink of an eye. We've seen several times over the last couple of weeks how the championship swings one way and then goes completely in the other direction with one moment. So Götz is going to end the session quickest. Muller improved again just now. He's had several good laps, hasn't he? 50.384 seconds for Nico. That's just 48 thousandths of a second between the top two. And there is Kelvin van der Linde coming back in. Good start. Third place, 50.439 seconds. You need bravery, commitment, but also absolute precision around here. It's going to be a real test of nerves for these drivers who have got to push. Those championship contenders have got to push each other on as well. Put each other under more and more and more pressure as the weekend goes on. Philip Ellis into fourth place, 50.471 for him. So that's van der Linde, Ellis and Rockenfeller all in the 50.4s. It's all within half a tenth of a second of each other. There's a great shot, and that just shows that you get it offline here. It's a street circuit, so you've got leaves, you've got, especially here in the autumn, that's something they won't have dealt with before, leaves coming down off the trees when they're normally here in July. You know, these are public roads, so to a degree, I mean, they have been swept and prepared for the race, but to a degree, you're sweeping them up. You put in the rubber down over the weekend, and the circuit really will change as the weekend goes on. The more racing rubber is laid down on the surface of the track. Nico Muller top of the times now, and a 50.231 puts him a 10th clear. It's just done a 50.258, absolutely flying. You're thinking, why can't we come to the Norisring every weekend at this rate? But he won't be getting too carried away, because he's had several false dawns of late where Fridays have gone really well, and then it just hasn't happened for him on Saturday and Sunday. Philip Ellis goes second with a 50.315, and Esteban Boot is on a charge. I wondered if he might like this place. Might suit his style of driving the Lamborghini. Looking good so far. Absolute best first sector, personal best second sector of the lap. And he's trying to get a low 50 to get somewhere in the top three. 50.231, the best time so far from Nico Muller. And Esteban Boot goes through with a 50.7 exactly, so stays in 8th place. That is his best lap of the session, though. Maybe a bit more to come from him, and perhaps from Philip Ellis, who's already pushing up there in terms of the times, in second place, and now goes to the top of the times with the 50.219, 12 thousandths of a second quicker than Nico Muller. And you think of the championship points from qualifying and how close that's going to be tomorrow morning and on Sunday morning. 3 points for pole position, 2 for second, 1 for third. And here at this track, you're probably looking at the difference between those points being thousandths of a second. There is Arjun pushing along. And showed great pace to get qualified for the second time this season in the top 3 last time at Hockenheim. But of course, he had that crash at the hairpin in race 1, which gave him, for the following day, a 5-place grid penalty. Mike Rockenfeller will need to be up there to help his teammate this weekend, and he's doing a good job so far. Just gone into the pits, but he's currently at 4th quickest. He's slightly ahead of his teammate, Mike, with a 50.338 just before he came in, and a 50.439 for Kelvin van der Linde. So Rocky goes 4th. The 2 van der Lindes are 5th and 6th at the moment. And we'll all be hoping, and fingers crossed, that Sheldon's terrible luck of bad run comes to an end here at the Norisring. So, pretty thrilling first 15 minutes of free practice. Really have laid down the gauntlet. BWT, Best Water Technology, our title sponsors for the weekend. So DTM Norisring powered by BWT this weekend. Best Water Technology, of course, their distinctive bright pink livery back the cars of Maximilian Gutz and Daniel Hunkadea, the two Mercedes, which flashed through shot right on cue. In fact, Philippe Ellis chasing both of them down around the circuit at the moment. He's gone quickest of all with a 50.161, 42 thousandths quicker than Nico Muller. Pretty good first sector this lap as well. He's not quickest in the first sector. Currently, the best time is an 18.572, set by Esteban Moot. Philip's got the best middle sector of 15.6 seconds. Arjun Mainy's quickest through the third sector at the moment, with a 15.9, and has started the lap well here as well. So Arjun going well here in the Mercedes. He's already up to 5th place. There he is, the Indian driver, looking to get his first podium this weekend if he can. But he's made a very good start to getting to grips with this circuit, that's for sure. Gets close, but not too close to the wall on the exit to the final hairpin at Dutzendijk Curve, and sprints for the line. It's going to be a good lap this. Where will it put him? 4th place, so 50.318 for Arjun. So Ellis in the Mercedes quickest, Muller in the Audi second, then 2 more Mercedes, Gutz and Maini 3rd and 4th, 2 more Audis next, Rockenfeller and Kelvin van der Linde, 2 Audi teammates rounding out the top 6. The first of the BMW, Sheldon van der Linde, in 7th place. He's done a 50.539. Now 7th, but he's only 0.37 seconds away from the fastest time of the session. Lucas Auer is 8th. Esteban Moot is the first of the Lamborghinis in 9th. And Sophia Florsch, who is another driver trying to get used to this circuit, but class this as her home race as well. She's from Munich. So here in Bavaria. Munich, the biggest city in Bavaria, of course, but Nuremberg is the 2nd biggest city in Bavaria, and Sophia in the top 10, 50.712 seconds, just over half a second adrift. And Arjun Maini has done the best lap of the session so far now with a 50.150, just ahead of Philippe Ellis by 11 thousandths of a second in free practice 1. All trading blows, and he sensed the circuit getting quicker and quicker, and perhaps more so the confidence levels going up and up and up from these racing drivers as they get to grips with this circuit. So 50.150 seconds. What we're going to be doing in qualifying trim tomorrow, you've got to be expecting us to be in the 49s, maybe even the high 48s in qualifying trim tomorrow, with all the new tyres on, the fuel loads as low as they can be. There's going to be some really quick times around here. So Arjun Maini quickest in the 1st and 3rd sectors now. Sector 1, 18.5 seconds, Sector 2, 15.4, Sector 3, 15.9. How the lap is divided up. Arjun with another good lap there, 50.259 seconds, which would have been good enough for 4th place. But the lap before was the one. Vincent Abril, though, is on a good lap here. Personal best of 18.7, 2 tenths down the first sector. But he's almost matched the middle sector time of Philippe Ellis with a 15.49, and that puts him 4th with a good third sector as well. So Vincent goes 4th, 50.267 seconds. We've got 3rd, 4th and 5th all in the 50.2s now. 50.1s for Maini and Ellis, 50.2s for Muller, Abril and Gotts, 3rd, 4th and 5th. 50.3s for Rockenfeller and van der Linde in 6th and 7th. Right, Liam Lawson, what's he got in the locker here? 15th place at the moment. His teammate Nick Cassidy is currently in 10th position with a 50.579. The ex-Formula 3 European Championship racer, but also somebody with huge experience in terms of GT racing. Nick Cassidy is going to bring a lot to the team this weekend. Former Super Formula champion and Super GT champion, Japanese Formula 3 champion as well. So Liam Lawson with able support this weekend. He's had it all year long with Alex Albon, but Nick Cassidy coming in this weekend will be good for him as well, I think, as Kelvin van der Linde goes to the top of the times. Now he lays down the gauntlet, but again, he gets on pole position for about 2 seconds. This time it's Lucas Auer that takes it away from him. So he did it briefly, but 50.090 right behind him on the road. Lucas Auer goes quicker still. 50.090. Who's going to be the first into the 49s? What happened in this session, the way it's going? 25 minutes left on the clock. Kelvin on the pace, though. That's the key thing here. Gutz was on the pace, but it's got quicker since he put his time in. He's in the pit still, down in 7th place now. And Liam Lawson looks like he's on the pace because he's just done the absolute best first sector time. Just 100th quicker than the previous best. Kelvin van der Linde, middle sector is an absolute best, though. So Kelvin might be about to go back to the top of the times, but Liam Lawson is on a good lap as well, although Liam is 4/10ths down in the middle sector on Kelvin. Van der Linde goes through, and he almost matches his best time with a 50.166. His previous best was a 50.135. Two very good laps and a pretty good start to his first real flying effort for Liam Lawson, 6th place, 50.207. So Lucas Auer is top of the times, and it's by 0.02 of a second. Massive, massive margin, that. Kelvin van der Linde 3rd, Philippe Ellis 4th. So it's 2 Mercedes, an Audi, another Mercedes, another Audi, Nico Muller in 5th, and then a Ferrari of Liam Lawson. BMWs now, well, the best of them, Sheldon van der Linde down to 10th place. Timo Glock 15th. Marco Wittmann down to 17th place. Liam on another good lap here. It's a much better middle sector for Liam. That's where he lost most of his time on the previous lap, but he loses out the 3rd sector this time. Doesn't quite hut the lap together, has he? So Liam this time gets another 3 or 4 tenths out of the middle sector, but has to back off out of it for whatever reason in the final sector. He glues them all together. He's got the pace definitely to be up there, challenging for Kelvin van der Linde, who's now top of the times by 0.05 of a second. Crikey, if free practice 1 is this hectic, what's qualifying 1 going to be like tomorrow morning? We've got 0.07 of a second between the top 3. We've got 76,000ths of a second between the top 4. Best free practice session of the year so far, I reckon. Kelvin van der Linde, 50.085, top. Lucas Auer, 50.090, second. Arjun Maini, 3rd, 50.092. If he comes back for another season at DTM next year, he's going to be one to watch, Arjun Maini. He's got better and better and better as the season has gone on in terms of his pace. Got caught up in a couple of incidents, but the pace is absolutely there. And here he comes. What's this one going to put him? Personal best so far, back into the top 2 for Arjun Maini, exactly 50 seconds, 50.001. Van der Linde has become the first driver to break the 50-second barrier, though, with a 49.905. So I think we're definitely looking at 48s tomorrow in qualifying. That is 96,000ths of a second, the gap now, which is massive compared to what it was about a minute ago when it was 0.02 of a second. But Arjun Maini showing great pace here this weekend. And you can see the track getting quicker and quicker and quicker as the session continues to go on, which means you need to be out there on the track, not in the pits, to get a sense for how it's all changing. So Kelvin van der Linde, 2nd in the championship, 1st in the session. Liam Lawson, the championship leader, thereabouts in 6th. Nick Cassidy, it's in too much of him, but he's chipping away. He's in 7th place. There's only 30,000ths of a second between Lawson and Cassidy, and into the 49s now for Arjun Maini. He stays 2nd, but that's his best lap of the session, and he gets to within 73,000ths of a second of Kelvin van der Linde. So it's van der Linde, Audi, Maini, Mercedes, Auer Mercedes, Ellis Mercedes, 3rd and 4th, Audi of Muller, and then 2 Ferraris, 6th and 7th, Mansell Avril Mercedes in 8th, White Rockenfeller Audi in 9th, Maximilian Gutz in 10th place, his home circuit as well. But he's running slightly out of sync with some of the other competitors in and around him in the championship as Mike Rockenfeller goes 5th. He's back out there now, and he set a personal best 1st sector. It's a 3/10ths down in the middle sector, Maximilian Gotz, but it might be his best lap of the session so far because he's down in 10th place now. And it is, he goes 4th, 50.09 seconds. Mercedes all up there again, queued up behind the Audi. How often has this happened? The Audi of Kelvin van der Linde at the top, but surrounded by Mercedes, who are 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th at the moment. Rocky with an 18.53 for the 1st sector is a 10th down. He's 4/10ths down, though, in the middle sector. His best lap at the moment is 2/10ths down, so this is, unless he pulls off a miracle in the final sector, not going to be his best lap of the session so far. It's a fairly hectic session, this. Lots of cars out on this 2.4-kilometre long circuit. Mike Rockenfeller stays in 6th place. Philippe Ellis has come into the pits. Lucas Auer has come into the pits. The 2 Ferraris are in as well, of Lawson and Cassidy. Sheldon van der Linde, 6 retirements out of the last 7 races. Unbelievable amount of bad luck. He's had punctures, he's had broken wheels, and a few times he's been in a position to score either strong points or potential podium finishes as Sheldon. But he loves this place. He's delighted to be back. Going to be hoping the Rover Racing BMW is more competitive here. Nico Muller, likewise, Seems a long, long time ago since that first weekend of the season at a very hot Monza that we saw Nico on the podium for what turned out so far to be the only time this season. Argemani, another good start to the lap here. Nico Muller has improved to 3rd place and he's on a flyer with an absolute best first sector time of 18.397 seconds. Nico was the driver setting the pace earlier on. Again, one of the previous winners here at the Norisring. That was with the AB team, who had 4 wins here. And Argemani, top of the times, 49.873 seconds. But what about Muller's time? He lost a bit in the middle, actually, so maybe not for Muller. He was 3/10 down in that middle sector. No, it's a 50-second lap exactly for Nico, 50.004. So 3rd place he stays, but Argemani quickest now at that 49.873, just ahead of Kelvin van der Linde by 32 thousandths of a second. Good to see Muller up there, and Rockenfeller up there as well, who announced last weekend at Hockenheim that this is going to be his last season with Audi in the DTM. Didn't 100% rule out to return to the DTM, maybe even next year, but said there's a good chance it won't be as well, and expressed an interest in returning to concentrating, the former Le Mans winner, on endurance racing, which he really, really enjoys and loves. He's played his part in this championship this year. Mike Rockenfeller started the year really well. He's one of only a handful of drivers who'd scored points in each of the first half dozen races, but suffered some bad luck mid-season. I suppose one moment of note was when Liam Lawson, who was trying to come back through the field after one puncture, dived up the inside of the Nürburgring of Kelvin van der Linde. There was contact and Kelvin was sent into his teammate Mike Rockenfeller, who was on the outside, and both the AB cars retired immediately. But then Mike Rockenfeller had the upper hand when he stole 3rd place on the final half lap away from Liam Lawson. 3 valuable championship points he took away from him in race 1 at Hockenheim last weekend. On board with Liam Lawson then, pushing on to learn this circuit, back in 8th place at the moment, with the best time of 50.207, which is just about 1/3 of a second away from the best time. Top 2 now in the pits, Miney and Kelvin van der Linde. It's a brief appearance from Rocky, who's 4th quickest, because he's back into the pits as well. Not yet flying for Liam, 3/10 down in the first sector of this lap. Right on board the Ferrari through the Cholet. And full lock, good brakes, a good front end on the car here. With the shorter wheelbase cars. That was tight, wasn't it? As he got past Lucas Di Grassi in the Audi, the 4th of the AB Sports Line cars. Former Formula E champion, just about got out of the way. That felt very tight, certainly from the perspective of the onboard camera. On the gas immediately. You need super traction around this course as well, coming out of those 2 hairpins in particular. 2 hairpins linked by the Cholet and then a long straight, essentially, with a few kinks in it. And that's it, that's the lap. There's a lot more to it than it sounds. So Liam Lawson, last lap 50.3. Again, making up a bit of time at the end, and it's close. A bit of wood there on the circuit. Thought there was going to be a moment of scraping the wing mirror on the wall, but it wasn't quite. Got to get as close as you're there, though. Why do they get so close to the walls? Because you've got to accelerate as quickly as you can out of the corners. That always sends you out wide. If you're too far away from the walls, you're not going quickly enough. It's that fine line. You're on a tightrope all the time here at this circuit. So Miney quickest in this first free practice session. DTM Norisring, powered by BWT. And Nico Muller to the top of the times. 49.872. Would you believe it? He's 1/1000th of a second quicker than Argemani. So Nico Muller to the top of the times. He's 11th in the championship. He's had a real terrible run of form and results lately. Not form, but the car just, and bad luck as well. Qualifying's been the issue, I think, really. Has not been able to get the run of it in qualifying. He's ended up kind of in the middle of the pack, or in and around, you know, 10th place, that sort of area. And he's got caught up in a number of incidents of late. So looked like being maybe a promising year. His first with Team Rosberg, who's been racing against for the last few seasons. Quickly turned into a bit of a disaster, I'm afraid, for the Swiss. And at the last 3 events, Red Bull Ring, Assen and Hockenheim, those 6 races, Nico has only managed to score a few points, 4 points for one 8th place finish. All the other races, 5 of the last 6, he's been out of the points. So he needs this to end the season on a high and perhaps set up for next year and a championship charge. Muller then the quickest. Lucas Howard's gone back up to 4th place. Nick Cassidy has improved up to 7th. And there's no doubt about it, Nick will be sharing his data with Liam Lawson. He might not need to, though, because Liam's just gone quicker than him. 5th place, 49.959. So that's 5 drivers into the 49s now. Nico Muller, Arjun Maini, Lucas Howard, Kelvin van der Linde, who's back in the pits, and now Liam Lawson. Daniel Hunkadea in 10th place currently in the Group M Mercedes, making good progress with the speed of the car of late since that second race at the Red Bull Ring. Flapping bonnet on the car, which I'll need to attend to. The Spaniard, there's no doubt about it, had plenty of pace this year. It's just they chased their tail a bit with the setup on the car. If he'd finished all the races where he qualified, he'd have had 97 points instead of 61, which just shows you that speed's been there, but the race results have not, as Liam Lawson goes second quickest, 49.784. Splits Muller and Maini, puts Kelvin van der Linde down to 5th. And there you go, it's only 45 thousandths of a second away from the best time of the session. Do get the feeling this weekend that all eyes are going to be on those championship contenders, but it might just be somebody else that steals the thunder and takes the race wins here this weekend, particularly with their added experience. But a long way to go before we can start to think about that. Qualifying will have a big effect on all of that, of course. And we've seen a few moments here over the past years at DTM. Turn 1, the Grunde Gala, the hairpin with it being so tightly bunched there on the way in and on the way out of the corner. There are potential incidents, nice and wide down the start-finish straight, but it squeezes up into that first proper corner, the first proper braking zone of the lap. There you go, see how much tighter it is, and on the exit in particular. And that's where, when you get 2 or 3 abreast coming out of the hairpin at the start of a race, it becomes too tight to squeeze sometimes. Nick Cassidy has gone 6th. The Ferraris are on the pace. That's the news so far. Lawson is 2nd. Cassidy is 6th. It's all a great big unknown, this. It's been the new era of DTM. We didn't come to Norisring last year because of the pandemic hit season. And a lot of the drivers haven't been here at all. And if they have, it's been in very different machinery. We don't know whether the Audis, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, BMWs, how they're going to be here. It's not looking too bright for BMW at the moment. They have 15th with Sheldon van der Linde, 18th with Timo Glock, and plumb last, which is a bit of a horrible recurrence of last weekend for Marco Wittmann, 15.855 seconds. It's a big, heavy car, the BMW. It's last generation as well. It's last season, this generation of car, so it's not the newest of cars, but also Marco has said, you know, we're not so quick through the tight, twisty sections of circuits. This car likes big, fast, open corners, and that isn't really the Norisring, is it? So I did wonder if maybe the BMW might struggle a little bit around here. It started the session well, but everybody's got so much quicker that they've fallen down to the final quarter of the running order now. Short wheelbase Audis should handle well around here, although there is that big long straight, and as Kelvin van der Linde said at Hockenheim last weekend, straight line speed hasn't been our biggest strength this weekend, and the Mercedes definitely look on the pace this weekend. Maximilian Gutzo would like to be a little bit higher up the order. He's 10th currently, only 0.35 seconds adrift. That's what he can do, and a very slow looking Lamborghini of Esme Hawkey there, who didn't get out at all for free practice 1 at Hockenheim, apart from a recce lap last weekend.
So box this lap, Esme, box this lap. Take it slow to lap in. So it seems the rear or right suspension failed.
Rear suspension failure then. Just saw the car, she was wrestling it to get it around the corner, even at those low speeds, wasn't she? So suspected right side rear suspension failure on the T3 Motorsport Lamborghini of Esme Hawkey. And this a replay of the moment it became apparent, or happened. Oh, just clipped the bolt with the wall there with the right side rear. Just got onto that paving, very slippy. And if it rains this weekend, very, very, very slippy, that paving. You've got to keep well away from it or be ultra careful on it. So Esme just sliding the back end of the Lamborghini into the wall, damaging the suspension, and rest assured she will almost certainly not be the only driver to do something like that this weekend because of these tight margins that you have on the street circuit. So that's the end of Esme's session. Hopefully they'll get the car repaired in a few hours' time. She'll need to be back on track to get as much track time as she can here for the second 45-minute free practice session. And while we're seeing that drama, Maximilian Gutz has gone into the top 5 now. So a 49.895, top 6 drivers have broken the 50-second barrier. Muller, Lawson, Mine in the top 3, Auer 4 in the pits currently, Gutz in 5th, Van der Linde in 6th place. So the top 3 in the championship are all inside the top 6. They're all on the pace. Nick Cassidy, great to see him back in action. It's been a while since I've seen Nick when he was saw him when he was racing in FIA European Formula 3 Championship, in which he was a very, very strong driver. But all that Super GT and Japanese Formula 3 success and experiences, we get another replay of Esme. Seemed fairly innocuous, didn't it? But she didn't hit the wall square on. It wasn't a massive, massive hit, but enough to damage the Lamborghini as Marco Wittmann makes an improvement, but only up to 19th place. 16th, 18th, 19th, the BMWs. And having been as high as 2nd in the championship just a few weeks ago, Marco Wittmann's season looks like it has imploded at exactly the wrong time. Cassidy back out. Gott's quickest, 49.568 now, and that's a massive margin, the biggest we've had for some time, because it's 0.17 seconds clear, best part of 2/10 up. So Maximilian Gutz is coming out fighting here. 49.568, be a great time, wouldn't it, to get your first ever DTM pole position if you can do it tomorrow morning.
Current reference, Maxi Gutz 49.
Seem ready for Nick Cassidy, who's asked for an update, or he's asked for one, he's been given one on times. So he goes back out to try and improve. He's 7th at the moment, Nick with a 50.009. Teammate Liam Lawson, 49.7, 3/10 quicker, and in 3rd place. Miney and Auer currently in the pits. Auer, a runner-up here in the DTM race in 2017, going back out onto the circuit now in one of the 2 Team Windward's Mercedes, the other one being Philip Ellis, all-rounding TT Cup champion in the blue and white 57 machine, who's in the pits still and down to 11th place now. Esteban Muta going through the shop. Mike Rockenfeller improving up to 7th. Daniel Hunkerdale improving up to 8th. Esteban's improved his lap time, 12th place at the moment, 50.2 seconds. The entire field, with the exception of Esme Hawke, who's in the pits with damage to the car, the entire field split by 9/10 of a second in this first competitive session on track. DTM Norisring powered by BWT, and the track's starting to get busier now. There's only 4 cars in the pits. We know that Esme Hawke is not going to be returning, so of the 19 cars that could be out there, 16 of them are on track now. And could be another frenetic final 6 minutes of the session, this. Quite qualifying for the first 15 minutes. Lost count of how many drivers have been on provisional top of the times so far. Gotts has been quickest, Muller's been quickest a couple of times, Miney's been quickest, Kelvin van der Linde has been quickest, that's 4 without even having to think about it. And others have been there or thereabouts as well. Right, Mike Rockenfeller, personal best set to 1, personal best set to 2. Possibly about to move up the order here. If he can just nail it over the line, he goes. Yes, into the top 3 for Rocky. 2013 champion with a 49.778.
Where we are? P1, 1.5 cents ahead. If you want, can do pit stop training.
See plenty of air blowing into the car there on the right leg of Maximilian Gutz as you got the side profile.
We'll try one more push lap after this one more push lap after this one, and then we do pit stop training, please.
You see the race suit, the right leg flapping around. Can you have one more quick lap, please, Max? Well, his last lap was only a tenth away from his best lap. So it's not just a one lap wonder this. His best 2 laps have both been quick enough to be top of the times. Go on then, Max, have another go, they say. Just going to get through the traffic. Yeah, one of the River Racing BMWs, either Gluck or van der Linde, hops out of the way and down into the first hairpin, turn 1 at the Grundy Garrett. He goes, switches direction completely, accelerates from about 60 kilometres an hour all the way up towards 200 kilometres an hour, just shy of that as he goes right then left now through the Scholler S. So some photographers on the left there, I've stood there in the past. It is a real thrill, right on the inside, right by the Armco barrier to watch cars fly through there. Max now heading to the Dutson Dyke curve, 18.5 through the first sector, just 2/10 down, 15.3 through the second sector, which was a little bit down on the best as well by a tenth. So it's just not going to be his best lap. Maybe one more this lap though. Yeah, 49.81. It's not bad though, is it? So still good enough to be a top 5 time that. And now he's got a nice clear track ahead of him. Super slow-mo, close to the wall did he get? Oh, breathe in. Just about get a leaf between the Mercedes and the wall there. That was tight. So he goes in search of another perfect lap. Lucas Auer goes 5th meanwhile, the 49.820, having just gone back out onto the circuit. He's going to be a real threat here. There's another driver, Lucas Auer. If he's back next season, you watch out, because his form has been brilliant of late. He's had the 2 wins in the last 2 weekends. And remember, he was running in second place at the start of the race. What at Hockenheim when Archer missed his braking point, went into the side of what was subsequently a very, very angry Lucas Auer. Don't see him angry that often. He's normally the chirpiest, most positive character. He wasn't happy that day. But his weekend was the polar opposite of Kelvin van der Linde's terrible Saturday, great Sunday, as he went on to take it was one of the biggest winning margins of the season so far in race 2. He's done a personal best in that second sector with 15.294 seconds. This is only a fraction down on the 15.273 of Kelvin van der Linde. So he goes second, 49.643 seconds. Maximilian Gultz didn't improve any further. He's gone into the pits. That'll be the end of his session. So 75 thousandths of a second now, the gap, as you can see, and those two much quicker than the rest in a session where thousandths of a second have split them. That's still the case with the top 2, but suddenly then you've got a big gap back to 3rd and 4th, Muller and Rockenfeller. Here is Nico Muller, 49.739 seconds in a best lap time for the Team Rosberg driver. His teammate Dev Gore, the American, in 15th for the 50.3, getting his first taste of life at the Norisring. And anybody on a personal best lap or sector here, not at the moment, it looks like. Going into the final 2 minutes of the session then. Championship leader Liam Lawson 5th. Kelvin van der Linde 2nd in the championship, 7th. Maximilian Gutz 3rd in the championship, 26 points adrift, fastest. And it was a very different picture about 7 or 8 minutes ago, wasn't it, when Lawson and van der Linde were both near the top of the times, and Gutz was back in 10th place. Started the session well, went in the pits for a while as everything improved, but went back out there and got the gauntlet laid back down, and Liam Lawson goes 3rd. His best lap of the session by some distance, 49.725. Kelvin's back out there as well. Understand the best middle sector so far, best final sector. He was down by 3/10 in the first sector, but this could be the lap that he really looks to lay down the marker with. He's got up to 6th place already, just behind his teammate Mike Rockenfeller. Only 51 thousandths of a second adrift. And an 18.38, that's a much better first sector time, personal best. So he's only a quarter of a second down on the overall lap time at the moment. He lost a lot of that in the first sector last time out. So this could be it. Remember qualifying last weekend at Hockenheim, right at the very end of the session, he stole pole position. Can he do the same sort of thing here with this first free practice? 15.27. It's not a personal best middle sector, but it's still within touch. He's only a few hundredths down on the best of 15.248, which was his best, and through he goes 3rd quickest. Good lap, 49.673. And importantly, in terms of jostling for position, he's put himself just ahead of Liam Lawson, now 3rd and 4th in this session, and divided by the sum total of 42 thousandths of a second. So now you've got the top 3 of the championship all in the top 4. And once again, in there fighting with them, as he has done for the last 2 weekends at Assen and Hockenheim. is a certain Mr. Hour from Austria. The checkered flag comes out. An improvement from Lucas de Grassi as well in 14th place in his second weekend of DTM after 7 very successful years in Formula E, which gave him 12 wins and a championship title as well with Audi and with Abt. Checkered flag out then on an absolutely frenetic start to the weekend. You can tell it's the last few days of term before the kids break up for the holidays, can't you? Because they are at it. And this has set the tone for what promises to be a nail-biting season finale. Free Practice 1 sets the standard. Gott's quickest, 49.568 seconds. Our second, 75 thousandths of a second between them, and that wasn't even anywhere near the closest gap that we had at the top of the times throughout that session. But the championship contenders, the top 3 of them at least up there, the one with the mathematical chance, 4th in the standings though, his disappointment and frustration will continue back in 18th place for Marco Wittmann. There was an improvement for Sheldon van der Linde though late on. He got himself up into 12th place. The best of the BMWs though still out of the top 10 here. So Mercedes, Audi and Ferrari dominating the positions in the top 10. Best of the Lamborghinis, Esteban Muth, and his first time around the Norisring did a pretty decent job there in 13th place. So Maximilian Gott's 49.568 seconds lays down the benchmark time. Lucas Auer second, Kelvin van der Linde in third, Liam Lawson fourth. Both of those two improving late on. Nico Muller fifth, Rockenfeller sixth, Miley seventh, Abril, Hunkerdare and Cassidy rounding out the top 10 positions, with Philip Ellis just behind in 11th and Sheldon van der Linde in 12th, ahead of Moot, de Grassi, Florsch, Gore, Buch, Wittmann, Glock and Esme Hawkey, who hit the wall and damaged the car with about 10 minutes to go. Right, that's it for the first free practice session, but join us again for free practice 2. We'll be on air from 4 o'clock local time for the DTM Norisring, powered by BWT. Free practice session 2. That's it from me, Chris Hartley, and the team for now, though. We'll speak to you again later on today.